We'll go ahead and get started on our cookie training. So my name is Kara. I am so I'm your Girl Scout troop treasurer, and I'm also the cookie mom this year. I also send all of the emails. So if you have a problem with the emails or you're not getting the emails, make sure you talk to me. Yeah, so we're gonna go over the cookie, like the important information for cookies. One thing to note really quick, on your cookie form, there was an error with printing these. And so I guess according to our council, we are the only council that sells the caramel chocolate chip, the gluten-free cookie in pre-sales. The other councils only sell them, like once the cookies come in. So as a result of that, the ABC Baker made an error on the cookie form. And so we put a sticker in the top corner to say that yes, we do have gluten-free cookies. But it's important to note that the gluten-free cookie is $6. All other cookies are $5. And then I would encourage you to take a ruler and maybe like right here in this little blank area, draw a line and make a column for the gluten-free cookie just to the left of the donation. Does that make sense? So that way you can keep track of that gluten-free cookie on your order form. Okay, it's the only thing that kind of went wrong this year that, unfortunately we couldn't prevent, and we tried to rectify it the best we could. So, otherwise, let's get started. So, welcome and purpose. So welcome to our 2026 cookie training. We are here to talk about how the cookie program works, cookie booth training, and how proceeds support our troop and local council activities. We're going to emphasize the cookie sales as a learning opportunity and not just snacks. And then you can see there our little cookie mascot for the 2026 season. It's the black-footed ferret. And so it's BFF, and then all of the branding that goes along with it is BFF Brave Fierce Fun. So there are two different Girl Scout cookie bakers. So there's ABC Baker, and then there's Little Brownie Baker. So if you've ever gone to a cookie booth or you've ordered cookies from Girl Scouts and they've had a different name, this is why. So for our baker, there's the Thin Mint, the Trefoil, Adventurefuls, the Explore Mores, which is the new cookie for this year. There's peanut butter patties, peanut butter sandwiches, caramel delights, lemonades, and the caramel chocolate chip. So if you have a customer that's asking about Samoa or Dozy Dough or Tagalong, Lemon Ups, those are the other baker. We have the equivalent or pretty close to the equivalent, but there are a little bit of differences. Like the Lemon Up is completely different from a lemonade. It's still a lemon cookie, it's just different. And then Toffee-tastic is the gluten-free cookie for Little Brownie Baker, where it's caramel chocolate chip. It's a totally different cookie, but they're both gluten-free. So it is more than just cookies. It teaches goal setting, business ethics, decision-making, money management, and people skills. So these are like the things that the cookie program is really like revolves around. There's badge work that goes along with cookie selling, and these are the things that they'll work on probably starting in January. That's when we kind of do that big major push for learning about how to sell cookies. And the girls will have their own cookie kickoff in January when we come back from our winter break. So where the money goes, 100% of the proceeds stays within our local Girl Scout troop or Girl Scouting experience. So the council does receive a portion of the proceeds to offer summer camps, scholarships, and then event opportunities. A little bit of the money goes to the service unit, and then the troop gets some as well. So there is a weird way that money is broken down. So it's 25% of the box of cookies. So $5 for a box of cookies, 25% goes back to the baker to pay for the cookies themselves. And then that other 75% is the 100% of proceeds. So that we end up as a troop getting around 70 cents per box. And that is based on a per girl average that we usually end up exceeding anyway. I think it's around, what's the 170 something per box per girl or something like that. So as long as we're over that, which I can guarantee you we normally are, we'll get about 70 cents per box.
Direct to the troop,
Direct to our troop. That's after council and service unit takes their money.
which we all benefit from anyway.
Exactly, yeah. So if your girl ever goes to Girl Scout camp or, our service unit hasn't been active in the last couple of years, but, if they, I know we have a new service unit director, so if they start hosting events and stuff like that, then we'll benefit from it as well. Okay. What parents should know and how you can help. So you have your order forms. We ask that the cookie sales technically starts January 2nd. Council did say that if you're gathering with family and friends over Christmas and New Year's, you can show it to them and collect orders, but don't go posting it on Facebook or blasting it in community groups and stuff like that. About the cookie sale until after January 2nd. So that way we're following the rules as far as our selling window. And then on January 2nd, you'll also get the online link for the cookie website. So you'll get an email, I think from Digital Cookie, and they'll encourage you to set up the online account. And then, so you'll want to go in, create that link, so that way you can add that to the online portion of your order form. So talk to the girls about goal setting and tracking their sales, talk about honesty and good manners, and then spread the word. So goal setting, so this is, your cookie goal is going to be specific to each girl. You can use the little rewards sheet to help determine the goal, incentivize her. I know last year, my youngest was dead set on getting the ice cream maker. And I think the ice cream maker and the American Girl doll. So that really pushed her to sell, I think of 1,500 boxes.
Wow.
She was dead set on getting, I think it was the American Girl doll that was 1,500. So you can use those to really incentivize her to push. And then you can also you can set a lower goal at the beginning of the season, and then as she reaches that goal, you can create a stretch goal to, say you set your goal to 200 boxes. And you've already sold 200 boxes before we even get to product delivery. You got 6 weeks worth of cookie booths that you could be doing and selling more cookies. So you can have her raise her goal to the stretch goal, and then, sell cookies at Cookie Booth and get to 1,000 boxes and get a free week at camp. Just an idea. But it's important to set a goal that's attainable and realistic. So the goal should match the effort that you and your girl are going to put into selling cookies. Because obviously it's her job to sell the cookies, but it's also she's not going to make it to a cookie booth on her own. Mom or dad or somebody has to take her to a cookie booth. So make sure that the goal is realistic within the effort for the family.
How hard was it to sell 1,500 cookies?
So I have 2 girls. So I typically spend every weekend, every day of every weekend at a cookie booth, from middle of February to March. So it really is a full-time job, but cookies have done amazing things for our family. We've gone to Great Wolf Lodge so many times, like I can't even tell you. Probably can't even count on both my hands. I've gone to Europe with my oldest. My oldest has gone to Disney. Like we're going to Disney this summer, and it's all because of cookies and lots of work. But, you know, whenever I tell people that I've gone to Europe with Girl Scouts, they're like, whoa, my Girl Scout troops never did anything like that. So, you know, it's kind of a really cool bragging point. Let's see. Okay, so paper orders versus online orders. So on the left side is paper orders. Customers will order on your order card and then they will pay you. So cash, Venmo, check, however you want to accept payment, you will accept that payment. So Venmo is gonna be your personal Venmo. The checks will be made out to you. If I get a troop 5059 from your neighbor Joe down the street, I'm gonna give it back to you and I'm gonna say, please go get a different form of payment. Or have Joe write you a check because I can't take it. If Joe's check for 5 boxes of cookies bounces, then I don't know how to find Joe because he's not my neighbor. So, just make sure that you're collecting the money, and then when you pay your cookie balance, you'll pay from your account or with cash or however, you know, write a check, and then you'll pay that to the troop. So then the paper orders, you have to turn in the cookies through digital cookie, or you'll have to turn those orders in through the email. If you do online ordering, the customers order directly using your daughter's cookie link. And so then they can choose shipping or girl delivery. And if they do choose girl delivery, you can you have to approve those orders. So I think you get like 5 to 7 days to approve those girl delivery orders. So you'll usually get an email saying like you have orders to approve. So you can go in and be like, oh yeah, my neighbor ordered cookies or my husband's coworker ordered cookies. Yeah, we can deliver those cookies. And then they pay online, so you don't have to worry about any money that way, which is really nice. Cookie booths. So this is like the meat and potatoes of this cookie training, like cookie booths. We honestly sell most of our cookies through cookie booths. Cookie booths are an extension of the Girl Scout cookie program. Girls should always be present and actively participating. And it's really important that the girls are not on cell phones while they're at a cookie booth. Seniors and ambassadors, so our Girl Scouts that are in high school, may accept payment using the digital cookie app or cash. We don't want little hands in the cash box. It's usually really windy in February and March, and they love to go in there and like organize the money. And then when they've got that cash box open, the wind just out of nowhere, and then now all of a sudden you're chasing after 20s. And that's the last thing you want, or I want to happen during a cookie booth. So it's really important that we can find other jobs for those younger Girl Scouts. It's really important that it's just the high schoolers that are the ones doing money. So otherwise it's an adult that's doing money. So at least 2 unrelated and registered and background checked adults must be present at all times, plus 2 girls. And then there's a little caveat in there that if you have 2 Girl Scouts in one family, you can do a booth with 1 adult. And that is, you know, or I know we have one family that has 3 Girl Scouts, so if that's, you know, your girls would just be or sharing the cookie profit, I guess, between the 3 of them. And that's so that way, like, cause like I said, I have 2 Girl Scouts, I would have to clone myself if I were to be able to sell, you know, think one of my girls got 1,500 last year, the other one got 1,000, and that's a lot of cookies and a lot of time that if we were trying to do it separately, it would not. I don't have that many hours in a weekend to be able to get both of them to those kind of numbers.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah. So, and then they must wear their vest over their coat, and it must be worn at all times. A lot of times, you know, we'll have older customers that'll come up and be like, "Where's the Girl Scout?" Well, she's right here. She's not wearing her vest for one reason or another. But yeah, so if we have a vest on, then they know who the Girl Scout is. A little bit more, no eating, drinking, or smoking at the booth. Girls who are working multiple booths in a row at the same location may stay and take breaks to have a snack. So in order to get to that 1,500 boxes, we will do booths from 8 AM to 12 12 PM, or sometimes we'll do them from like 10 AM to 8 PM. Like, we're out there all day long, and you have to eat. But it's really, you know, like, one girl can, you know, go behind and have a snack. And then, or in between customers, she can eat, but don't put it on the table. And if a customer comes up, hide the food. Don't talk with your mouth full and attend to the customers. Once the customer's gone, you can go back to eating.
How long is a booth shift?
So typical booth shifts are 2 hours long. But in order to get to those higher cookie numbers, it's kind of imperative to do more cookies. At least for us, we don't have a lot of family that sell or buys cookies. So we network through the community.
Where do we set up booths?
So that I think is gonna go
Sorry.
a little earlier, a little later in the slideshow. But yeah, if you are interested in helping us with setting up booths, making phone calls to like managers of different stores in the area, Belinda has graciously set up a spreadsheet for us to track like which places that we're gonna like set up booths and what times we're setting up booths and all of that. And she showed it to me earlier tonight, and it was very organized. And so yeah, we need help with calling companies and saying, hey, we do have a list of places that we've gone in the past. So it's not like a
Cold
cold call, but yeah.
So do you have, so I know that different councils have like a boundary area.
Yeah, it's within our council. So we are, we're almost the top of our council, so we can't go past Stafford County.
Okay.
We can go up to 610, but
Okay.
once you cross out of Stafford County, that's nation's capital.
Yeah.
But then we go
Down
all the way down to the North Carolina border. We go all the way to like Northern Neck. We go not very far west. I think we only go like as west as Spotsy, but then like as you get down closer to the Virginia, North Carolina border,
We
it
have
widens
a
out.
pretty big range.
It's a very big council.
And then how are we handling donations?
So we collect donations and then we apply them to cookie boxes.
Right.
They've said that we can't take cash donations. They have to be applied to a cookie.
Put them toward the USO donation
Yes.
cookies.
Yeah.
To get
Okay.
credit.
Yeah, okay. And then how do we ask? We don't ask.
So it's one of those things
That's
where girls, it obviously comes out of the girls better. It's accepted more.
Yeah.
Accepted better. If the girls, and there's some girls out there that they are just Johnny on the spot. They're so good and they're not shy at all. And they're like, would you like to buy some Girl Scout cookies or make a donation? And it's just like, if I were to say, they would look at me like, oh. But then it comes out of a little 5-year-old and they're like, oh, aren't you just the sweetest thing? So I would always encourage the girls.
So it is allowed to ask for
Yeah.
donations in that
Yeah.
way? Cause okay, just cause Nation's House doesn't let you.
Why don't you just keep it as like, make a donation and then be like, well, if you want to give $5, then you can give $5 and donate it to the USO. But if you only have two, then I'm not gonna say no.
We pool it until you.
Yeah, we'll pull it and then we'll
Yeah.
apply it to a box of cookies once we have enough.
Okay.
And that can be matched.
Yeah, yeah. It's just, it has to be applied to cookies. Yes, yep. So we can't take in like $1,500 in donations and then be like, okay, great, we're gonna go spend this money on XYZ, what I don't even know. But yeah, it's gotta be
Yeah.
then applied to the cookies. So obviously we want them to be polite and respectful, leave no trace, so we wanna show up at a cookie booth and when we leave, we want it to look the same or better when we're done. So the trash, empty cookie boxes, all of it needs to be picked up and either brought home with you or disposed of in the trash cans. Cookies and cash are not to be left unattended. And then obviously we don't want the girls to go out in the parking lots for them. So cookie booth sign up. So the sign up genius for cookie booths will go out sometime mid to late January. So when signing up for the cookie booths, please include your phone number. So like a lot of times I know people have kind of gotten the hang of adding their kid's name. But put your kid's name and your phone number in there. So that way, if you end up, and I'll talk about this a little later, but if you end up being one of the first or last for a cookie booth, you'll either have to pick up or drop off the cookies at the end. And that if we have your phone number, it makes that coordination a lot easier. We do a lot of communication through Facebook chat, like our level chats, but sometimes you'll be working a booth, your daughter is a junior and you're working a booth with a Daisy mom, but you're not in the Daisy chat, so how do you get a hold of them? By having your phone number in that sign up genius, it makes it a lot easier for everybody to communicate. Girls that are going on the Disney trip, we would love it if you would do 5 cookie booths, a minimum of 5. And so that's 5 2-hour booths. And that's just because we have a lofty fundraising goal and we want that lofty fundraising goal to match the cookie goal. And then all girls will receive a patch for doing a minimum of 2 cookie booths. So 2 2-hour cookie booths, you get a patch. Okay, so cookie booths, at all cookie booths, there will be a bag and there will be a cash box. So in the bag, there will be a tablecloth, there will be shopping bags, hand warmers, because it's freezing, tissues, and then table decorations. So, the table decorations, sometimes they're just simple, like we've made little bunting out of cookie boxes, to like decorate the booth a little bit, and then, be like donate to the USO or we take card, that kind of thing. But then when we get closer to
Valentine's
we'll have cookie booths on Valentine's Day, so we can have Valentine's Day decorations for
St.
cookie
Patrick's
booths.
Day.
And then we'll have St. Patrick's Day decorations at cookie booths, so that kind of stuff. And then we'll also have a cash box, and in your cash box, there will be change, there will be $100 in change. So there will be 10s, 5s, and 1s. And then there will be a cookie tracking envelope, pencils, slips for your money, counterfeit marker, so that way anything, over 20 or even 20s, you can mark it, make sure that it's real. And then 5 for 5 cards is a promotion that they do for cookie booths, where if the customer buys 5 boxes of cookies, they get a card, it looks like a business card. And they can go online, there's a link on that card. They can go online and register to win 5 cases of their choice.
Cool.
And so it's a good like upselling way to get people to buy more. Girl responsibilities, so be in uniform, greet customers. They can share their cookie varieties and the pricing. They love to tell customers their favorite cookies. They can keep the inventory organized and stocked. So a lot of times we'll have our table out in front, and then we'll have our cases behind the the table. And then as the customers will take the boxes off of the table, the girls can take the boxes out of the cases and put them on the table, and they love to refill. That is, they love it. So, always say thank you, even if the customer doesn't buy.
Mhm.
And that is something like, this is year number 13 that I'm selling cookies. My daughter is a senior. So, and we've been doing this since kindergarten. So we've kind of developed our way of asking and saying thank you over the years, but if they say no, just thank you, have a nice day, because it's fine. And that's one thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna do some booth challenges. We're not gonna go crazy, but one of them that we're gonna try is a no challenge. So every time they get a no at a cookie booth, they get to mark it off, and then whoever gets the most no's in the cookie booth for the weekend is gonna win a prize. Just so that way they don't get discouraged, because it's easy to get discouraged when people aren't buying cookies. And then never pressure them to purchase.
Do you have a way that you want the tables set up?
I mean, it's totally up to you. I personally will do, my girls love to do rainbow order. So we start with the peanut butter patties over here, and then we end with, usually the gluten-free one on the other end. Even though it's blue, it just, because it doesn't look like the others, it goes on the end. So, but it's totally up to you. When Sade was Daisy, we literally did a rainbow, and that was a nightmare for restocking. But it was fun, and there's pictures, and I think we did it 2 or 3 times, and then it was too much work, and so. But however you want to set up your booth is totally up to you. Like, and I'll be honest, like, if we ever take over a booth from you, we will probably rearrange it. And there's no offense, it's just, we got our way, and we like to do it that way. So, adult responsibilities. So ensure safety and proper behavior, handle the money, and hard processing in digital cookie. Encourage the girls to lead in customer interactions. Keep the inventories organized in stock, more like tracking the sales, and then requesting additional cookies to be dropped off at your location. And then make sure the booth is clean and doesn't block entrances or walkways.
To your question about organizing a table, I organize the cookies based on this envelope.
Yeah.
So it's easier to just run through it quickly.
Yeah.
With it being
And this
organized.
turned out a lot smaller than it to, but this is an example of one of our cookie tracking envelopes. I will send this PowerPoint out to everybody in the email, so that way you can Zoom. But basically, so it's got your Adventureful, your Explorers. I don't know why that one keeps going. But it's got all of the different types of cookies. And then what we ask is every time you sell a box of cookies, you put a tally mark. And the reason for that is so that we can keep track of what you brought to the cookie booth with you, and then like what's coming back.
That the delta matches for
Right.
sales.
So, and yeah, so it's really important that you count your cookies. So if you're the first cookie booth, like I will be the one counting your cookies, and I encourage you to count your cookies too. But I will count your cookies, and I will make sure that I record what I sent you to the cookie booth with. But if you're doing a cookie booth, like you're the first person there, you're picking up from my house, and you're only planning on staying 2 hours. But this cookie booth goes from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. There's gonna be other people coming in when it's your turn to be done. And then there will be more people that are coming in when it's their turn to be done. And we need to have an accurate count of these cookies every time that changes over, because that will impact the number of, or the credit of cookies that your girl sells. So count all the cases, count all the boxes, and then record these tally marks while you're actually selling the cookies. Don't keep track somewhere else and then put it in at the end. Just on the envelope. And there will be times like it'll get busy and you're like, did I mark that? I don't know if I marked that. And that's okay. It's obviously there's human error and that's why it's so important to count at the beginning and count at the end. And don't like feel like you're gonna offend somebody when you go to a cookie booth. And you take over for them and they leave and then you recount the cookies, cause I do that. Like, I wanna know, like, and maybe that's just the nurse in me, like, I wanna know what I have when it's became my responsibility and what I'm leaving you with at the end of my responsibility. So, and then the two columns, like, in the middle of all the pink, those are if, for whatever reason, you run out of cookies and we need to bring you more cookies during the middle of your booth. So then you'll add in like, oh, I only got, like, I kind of did in a little example at the bottom. We only sent you 6 boxes of the gluten-free cookie and you sold 4 boxes in the first, I don't know, 30 minutes of your booth and you still have an hour and a half left. And so it's like, oh, Kara, I need more cookies. Can somebody bring me cookies? And
Cookie driver.
so we, and if any of you are willing to be like on call to deliver cookies, you know, we can create shifts for that. So that way it's not just, I'll probably be at a lot of cookie booths and then he'll be the one driving it around and all that. So if anybody wants to help out in that regard, we would love help. But yeah, so when he arrives or when somebody arrives with your extra cookies, that's how you're gonna like put it in your form. So you started with 6 cookies, you added 6 cookies, now you have a total of 12. You really only ended up selling those 4 in that first 30 minutes, but at least you had cookies for the rest of your cookie booth. Down at the bottom left, so that's where the credit card charges go. I'm gonna be completely honest with you, we are changing the way that we do credit cards. And I have no idea how it's gonna go. It might not go great. I am very nervous. In the past, we've done our credit cards this way, where every time you have a charge, you tally mark it just the way you do for every single cookie. But then the credit cards go down in the bottom. Digital cookie also has a cash function, so you can record the cookies just like, at any store that has Square or one of those, Shopify storefronts or whatever, you click on like, they're gonna buy a caramel delight, or they're gonna buy a Thin Mint, and then their total is $10, and they hand you cash, and you click cash, and then it goes in through the ether, and then it records that you've taken a cash payment for this $10 cookie order. And then same thing, you have a caramel delight and a Thin Mint, and now they're gonna pay with a card. You just click, they're paying with card. And then it's not like a tapper like we used to have, where the RFID, you just, beep it. We need a physical card with the numbers, so that's gonna be a little bit of a pain point this year, I think. But,
It was a pain. We did it. We used it
Yeah.
last year. It was just
Yeah.
constantly.
well, and I've heard that people don't love the scan function because it looks like you're taking a picture of their card. The other option is to just type all the numbers in, but, I'll be honest, I don't know how it's gonna go. It's gonna be a learning experience. It's gonna probably be some growing pains, but we're gonna get through it. Yes,
Where's the app?
it's digital cookie app, yes.
So smartphones, you can tap the top of the card.
You can?
No,
Yeah.
in your Android cookie.
With digital cookie?
Yeah,
Oh.
we did that, 4 years ago in a
Okay.
different one, but it was with digital cookie, and I
Okay.
didn't have that.
They've not talked about tapping in our training, so this is news to me, but
We'll do some
Yeah,
tests.
we didn't have tapping for Nations Capital.
you didn't?
No.
Okay, well, hopefully, fingers crossed. There is also a way to pay through Venmo and PayPal for the customers. So if they want to use their PayPal or Venmo, there's also an option, cash, card, PayPal, Venmo, and that will bring up a QR code on your phone, to, have for them to scan so that it'll go to us.
Yeah.
So we're not doing Square at all.
Not doing Square at all, no. No Square, so if you were with us previous years and you've used Square, that's in the past. So then in the bottom right, there is a donation tracker, and so that's how we keep track of the donations we receive over the course of the booth. On the back, it's, basically just how to fill out the form. And like how to, like, if you're the incoming parent, how do you, like, what do you do? If you're the outgoing parent, what do you do? And then, my phone number and Greg's phone number are on the back of that envelope. And there will be at least one, if not multiple envelopes in each cookie, cash box. And then at the bottom is how you're gonna keep track of the cash that you have in the box. So we're gonna have the change, your starting change is $100, and I had it written down somewhere, but I don't remember where I put it. But it's fives, or ones, fives, and tens, is it preferable, like, that's how you're gonna start a booth. Obviously, if you're coming on midway, then you might not have the exact change, but we wanna keep it, fives and tens and ones, don't put a 20 in there, cause that doesn't do anybody any good. And then, so you'll keep that off to the side, clipped in a clip, that's why we have the binder clips in there, so that your starting cash is off to the side. And then your money for the cookie booth is gonna go in that envelope, and you're gonna keep track of the amount that you have for each dollar. On that cookie envelope, so that way when we count it, we'll be like, okay, you have this much in cash in your envelope, and then you have this, we'll run a report, you have this much in credit cards or PayPal or Venmo, whatever, digital payment, and then we can take the number of cookies that were sold and then add it up with the payments, and then we can figure out if you had donations, or if we were under for whatever reason, maybe we had a wind gust that took some 20s away. And there's a reason I keep using that as an example, because it's happened before. So yeah, and it's just make sure that you're putting the total. So if you have 100 in tens, put 100. Don't put 10 tens, put $100 in tens, and then $300 in 20s. That's how that works. And then if you get a $100 bill, just write off to the side. 100s, 100. Booth changeover. Where I wrote. Okay, so as soon as you're able to during your booth, it doesn't have to be at the end. If people are giving you money and you're able to create that $100 change within the first 10 minutes, do it, because then there's less to do at the end when you're changing over. So, preference for starting cash is $20 in ones, $40 in fives, and $40 in tens. Put it in the binder clip and keep it in cash box. And then, just make sure that you have whoever's coming to relieve you, count that money, so that way you know it's correct. And then you're gonna count every box of cookies at the beginning and the end of the booth. Tally marks can be missed during rushes when you get really busy, and it helps us keep track of inventory. So this is the difference between a case and a box. So a case is one of the bigger boxes of cookies. There's 12 boxes per case. The cost of the case is $60, except for the gluten-free is $72. And then a box of cookies is $5 per box, or $6 for a gluten-free box. So we always count our cookies in boxes when it comes to the booths. But we will give you, like, if it's an 8-hour booth, I'm gonna give you like probably 7 or 8 cases of Thin Mints. And then it's just a matter of doing the math in your head, how many boxes that is. There we go. So this is Sade at our cookie booth last year at Lowe's. We decided we were gonna work smarter, not harder. We put our entire cookie booth, like, we were the first ones there. And it was just the 2 of us, cause I think Tegan was sick. And so we just put all the cookies on this lumber cart, and wheeled it up, and but this can, kind of be an example of what a typical cookie booth is gonna look like. If you have a 4-hour cookie booth, I'm not gonna send you with that many cookies. That's ridiculous. So the quantities will be determined based on the location and the time frame. And then make sure your vehicle is as empty as possible. I have a minivan and I usually put the third row seat completely down. And usually one of the captain's chairs goes completely down, and then, because we'll have a table, you'll have some signs, you'll have all the cases of cookies, you'll have, the cash box and the bag, and then you'll obviously want to bring things for you to stay warm, and then maybe a chair. So, yeah. And then if you have a smaller vehicle and you don't have a larger vehicle in your family, I would encourage you to sign up for booths that are in the middle of the day. So that way you don't have to be responsible for picking up or dropping off cookies. That leads into this. So one adult from the first booth of the day must pick up the booth supplies and inventory from my house, typically the day before. So if you have an 8 o'clock booth, really don't want to be awake at 7 in the cold, putting cookies in your car. So I would prefer that everybody picks up their booth the night before. And usually coincide that pickup with drop-offs of other booths, so that way I don't have to make so many trips to my garage. And this goes into why we do the phone numbers on Sign Up Genius, so that way you can coordinate with the other parent that is on your booth. So that way, then one of you can reach out to me and say, hey, I'm gonna be the one picking up for this booth. 5 Below at 10 a.m. And then I'll be like, okay, great. Can you come at this time? And then we'll make arrangements there. And then one adult from the last booth will be the one responsible for bringing all the cookies and all of the money back to my house. We will count the cookies to make sure that what you counted at the very end of your booth matches what I get back when I am counting them in my garage. It gets crazy. Sometimes you can literally have all the cookies in your car and somebody will come up to you and be like, are you done? Can I buy one more box of cookies from you? And you're like, sure, I've only crossed that one out like 4 times in the last 10 minutes, but it's fine. Sell the cookies. And we'll figure it out when you get to my house and nobody's going to be harassing us. So make sure that you contact me when you're on the way, so that way, I can be ready to accept cookies. And then, be patient. Sometimes we have like 4 cookie booths returning at the exact same time. Or we'll have like the 4 booths returning, and then we'll have 4 booths picking up for the next day. And so it can get hairy, it can get hectic, but if you get out of your car and help us, then it'll go faster.
Do you like Starbucks?
I do like Starbucks. Give me your favorite. I drink coffee at home, so give me your favorite and maybe I'll have a new favorite or coffee type. Yes. Okay, so I think this may be my last slide. Look at that. Cookie sales starts on January 2nd. All orders need to be loaded into Digital Cookie by January 16th. This time, Digital Cookie gets shut off for a week. So you won't be able to take any online payment and online orders in that week. And that's because there's actually 2 different cookie systems. And right now they don't talk to each other very well. So, there's Digital Cookie, which is what you guys are gonna use. And then there's Smart Cookie, which is for me and ordering the cookies to get them to us. And so they turn it off for that week just to make sure that everything flows over properly. And then it will turn back on January 23rd. But in that time frame, you can keep selling paper orders. Initial order money is due. So just what your initial order is. So if you sell 100 boxes, from January 2nd to, I think it's, hang on, I missed a date. I think it was Yes, initial orders actually go into the system, I think, on January 26th. So, and then the money is due, a week or a month later. So only your initial order is the month, you're only paying for that initial order on February 22nd. So whatever you sold from the end of January to the end of February, that's not counted in that initial order. So we'll accept that, and then council will take a payment out of our bank account to pay for all of the cookies that we've, sold up to that point. Or, well, the initial order, and then they take more money out, at the end of the sale. So cookies arrive on February 12th. If anybody is available on February 12th and wants to come help us unload the truck and divide orders, we would love to have you. I had to take that day off of work, so let's hope that they don't reschedule our delivery, 'cause that things might get hairy.
How big is the truck?
It's a semi. We usually have around 300 cases delivered for our initial order. My garage will be full, like. We're going to make arrangements, yes. I mean, that's how it's been the last several years. We've always had it. It wasn't, yeah. So in the past, we've had to like rent a U-Haul and go pick it up, and so then we're moving the cookies like 4 times before it ends up at the cookie person's house. Last year, we did have a semi deliver it, to our Cookie Mom's house. So hopefully, I know last year they said that because we ordered so much, they would deliver it to my house, so. Fingers crossed. And fingers crossed that they don't change it, because last year they did change the delivery date and.
It's on the snow day.
Yeah, it was on a snow day, and I rescheduled my work from Thursday to Wednesday, and they rescheduled it last year from Thursday to Wednesday, so. Just February 12th. And then, yeah, so all cookie money due is going to be on March 23rd. That also happens to be our spring awards day, so. It's a couple days early, so that way we get all of our money before they take money out of the account. Yep. And then the cookie reward choices, so there's some levels for your girls, like prize levels where they have to choose between, this prize and this prize. And so I need those decisions, for those rewards by April 1st. Okay, and I think that everything. Yes.
So we've been talking about, just, cookie booths and whatnot and
Yeah.
paper sales. However, are you also going to be, it's like lending cookies? at
Yeah,
them?
I'm glad you brought that up. Yes, so cookie checkouts.
Yes.
Yes, so, I think the first weekend of cookies, we don't do cookie checkouts
Okay.
because we kind of got to get into the flow of things. The second weekend, so I'm trying to remember how we did it in the past. I think it's usually you can come and pick up cookies on like a Monday, and you can take up to a case of each type. And then, bring it back to me by like Friday, or we can make arrangements like to have it over the weekend. It's just more, we need to make sure that we have cookies for our booths as well. So, we don't love to rent them, check them out over the weekend, just so that way we have them for cookie booths. But that way you can have cookies on hand to sell without having the financial responsibility to sell those cookies. So it's like a cookie checkout. So you take a case or however much you want. If you only want like 3 boxes of each type, then only take 3 boxes of each type. You're borrowing those cookies until you sell them. You can take a wagon around your neighborhood and sell to your neighbors. And then, whatever you have left over at the end, you just bring back to me. And what you sell, I credit to your daughter, and what you don't sell goes back into the sales.
Is there, so I know that at least where I was at, our last trip, we were restricted to certain areas that we were allowed to go and walk cells
No,
to
it's
because
more
of
like-
like territory. like,
Yeah, no, we don't do anything like that. It's just more be cognizant of like, maybe like if somebody else from our troop is in your neighborhood, maybe, you know, just be cognizant of like what houses you're going to.
Cookie battles.
Yeah, we don't want cookie battle. Like obviously,
You stay on your block, I'll stay on mine.
yeah.
Like in our neighborhood, we have 4 of the girls in the troop that are in their same neighborhood.
Yeah,
So on our Facebook group, we post, hey, if you like cookies, and then we each get the next one that comments, but then we also talk amongst each other. We already did this street.
right, yeah,
And then that way we know what streets have already been asked. We're not double or triple
right,
asked.
right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, and so like, I know we have a girl from our troop that lives a few streets over. And so it's not like, for us, we would have to go really far in order to kind of get into her territory, so to speak. But, you know, it's also like, if one girl wants to put in the effort to go door to door and another girl has zero interest, maybe just have some communication with that other parent, so that way, like, if your girl wants to go door to door and wants to do the sales that way, then that way she's not missing out.
Is there anything that says that I can't walk around a college campus?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Nope, as long as she's walking and with a parent, there has to be a parent with her while she's selling cookies.
Are there certain locations we should not be outside of?
You cannot sell cookies outside of any establishment where they're not legally allowed to buy something. So if they can't buy something from a vape shop, then they shouldn't be outside a vape shop.
Darn.
If they can't buy alcohol, then they shouldn't be outside an ABC store. If there's a Goodwill next door and you've got permission to set up next to Goodwill,
Smart.
then you can kind of cheat the system a little bit. I'll be honest, the giant Eagle Village, there's the giant, the door, let's say the doors are coming out right here. I'm standing right here, down that way, the next door down is an ABC store. And we will sell cookies to the people that frequent the ABC store. There's nothing wrong with that. But we are technically at a booth at the Giant, not at the ABC store. So, yes.
So are you saying table wherever you want and start selling?
We need permission.
Right.
If you're setting up at a business, then we do all of our booths kind of for the troop. So like, if you have a business or you have family members that have a business, we would love for you to reach out to them or let us know if we can set up at your establishment and give us times, dates that we can be there. But we will put that out to the whole troop, for, you know, sister to every Girl Scout. I can tell you that like, my hairdresser has told me for years, oh, you can set up a booth at the salon. And I'm like, no. We would not sell enough boxes to justify the time, that we're spending. So some places like that are good to do walkarounds. Like, so every, you know, if I'm there during cookie season, we'll bring a wagon of cookies, those checked out cookies that I mentioned. And we'll, you know, go around to customers that are getting their hair done or the hairdressers that are working, and we'll sell boxes of cookies to them. But we're not gonna sit there for 2 hours and sell cookies, because we might sell 60 boxes, but we could sell 60 boxes in an hour at Lowe's. You know, so. Yeah, but yeah, so any location has to have like manager approval. And then there are some locations like Walmart and Wendy's, and I think there's another, but I can't remember, are council sponsored, so we have to get those through council. It was Walmart, Wendy's, and another one. We don't do Wendy's. We're not gonna set up at a Wendy's. But we do set up at Walmart, but we have to reach out to council and get those times and dates through council. We can't reach out to the managers for those.
Well, Costco.
I I don't know that we've ever done Costco.
They said no.
They said no.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were some places that said no. Yeah.
And real quick, some kind of bring out, if you're brainstorming ideas for places that you might want to set up a cookie booth or call out to, the biggest thing that determines the number of cookies you're gonna sell is foot traffic.
Yeah.
Far enough, okay? So it's one of those like, oh, people who come out of this place, they're gonna want cookies. Yeah, cool, but if they only have 3 customers a day, that's not gonna get you the volume you want.
Yeah.
So we're just looking for numbers, people walking, that's why it's like the butcher shop does really well. Like anywhere downtown, because there's always people walking around except for when it's really cold. But if people are walking around when it's really cold, they're gonna be like, oh, these girls are like out in the gym.
Go buy cookies.
Like, especially if you have like a really little girl who could be like,
Well, food line. We don't have any food lines that close to here. I think all the food lines that we had in our area switched to something else.
Maybe it's doing that free prostate thing.
sorry.
So yeah, and then if that kind of goes along the same lines, if you have any other ideas as far as locations for booths, keep in mind, like foot traffic is like literally what is a key motivator for us. But let us know, and even if you would take point on being the person to call out and like, you know, reach out to the manager and be like, hey, can we set up a booth? We would love that.
Sorry.
Well, just thinking, you all are involved in a lot of different groups that we may not know that you have an event coming up, like a craft fair. You could bring up to the craft fair organizer, hey, could the troop set up a booth there? So think about that of expanding and combining where you're spending your time.
Yeah, yeah. And then like in the past, there was one time that we did a cookie booth at, well, it used to be Paragon. I don't know what it's called, but at a movie theater. We were like, oh, this is gonna be great because they were letting us sign up or like set up inside, and then they'll buy cookies instead of popcorn. Yeah, no. Mm-mm. Nope, it was horrible. I mean, it was great because we were inside and we were warm, but it was not a good cookie booth. You know, people come in and then they spend an hour and a half, 2 hours in the movie theater, and then they want to go home. They don't want to buy more cookies. So, places like Lowe's and Tractor Supply and Walmart, where people are going in and out lots of times a day.
Five Below is good.
Five Below is another good one. We've done Anita's Cafe downtown, the butcher shop downtown.
People get charitable on Sundays and they'll
Yeah.
buy cookies and then hand them out inside.
Yeah.
You could ride along with that.
Church? So I do know that there's other troops in the area, very few, but there are troops in the area. So you guys communicate with them, try and make sure you're not like double dipping in their spot.
Really,
per
so
day. Same time?
we've kind of found our sweet spot as far as like locations, and we really just kind of repeat those locations. We're willing to try something new.
Yeah,
But I mean, there was a time where we had a booth at like Anita's Cafe, so that's the one kind of over where
damage.
it used to be Italian Station, now it's Anita's Cafe. And then there like I think it's Billiken Smokehouse is right across the street. And then if you go this way down, what street is that? Caroline Street. A little further down this way, there's another coffee shop. I can't remember the name of it. But there was one time when we were at our cookie booth, and then there was another troop at that coffee shop, just a little bit down. And so, and it's friendly competition. You know, like my girls they've got their little shouting chant thing that they do, and there was, I would be lying if I said there wasn't a shouting match. You know, they'd be like, oh, gosh, and then you'd hear the girl, you know, over here, like, so,
It's all friendly.
it's friendly competition, you know, and then people will come by and be like, oh, I just bought from this spot or from them over there. We're like, thanks for supporting Girl Scouts. You know, shucks, you know, so, huh?
They didn't take credit card.
Oh, yeah, sometimes they'll say that they don't take credit cards, yep. So we've been taking cards for a long time, so hopefully the switch to digital cookie is a smooth one. Any other questions? Went through that, oh, wow, well, actually, pretty on time. Sure. Any other questions? No? All right, well, I hope you have a very safe and happy holiday season, and we will see you again in January.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.